And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Amun Re, the card game. Now, Amun Re is a game that I really enjoy. In fact, Tasty Minstrel just republished a version of Amun Re just a bit ago, and really like this game from Reiner Knizia, a game where you're bidding. It's an auction style game where you're going to bid out in the middle of the table on different areas, build pyramids there, that you make them worth points. Halfway through the game, it kind of resets, but the pyramids stay there, and suddenly you're building on other people's stuff. So this is going to try to do a similar thing as a card game. Let's see if it succeeds. Each player is going to get a deck of cards that have numbers that go from 0 to 8. At the beginning of the game, you're going to pick cards that are worth 14 worth of money exactly. So maybe, for example, you have to keep the 0, and I'll keep the 1, the 6, and the 7, and I'll place these face up in front of me. There are 3 eras in the game, and in each era is going to consist of 3 rounds where you're going to turn over cards equal to the number of players. So you won't use every one of these cards in every game. Players are going to be bidding on these cards. These cards are going to have pyramids on them, which is a major way of points at the end of the game. They're also going to have ankhs on them, which is going to determine player order and also some points. And farmers, which is mostly about money over the course of the game. On a player's turn, they're going to take one of the money cards in front of them and place it face up in front of the one that they want. So maybe I'll put a 1 there. Maybe the next player puts a 0 there. Then the red player evilly is going to put a single card here, which is going to put this one back in front of me. And then maybe the purple player decides that they want that card, and so they put an 8 there, sending it back to the other person. On my turn, I decide that I'm going to go for this one, and then the red player knocks me out of there, and so I just take this one. Once there's a card in front of everyone, each player discards the card that they're going to do, except for the 0. You can use the 0 every turn if you want to, and they take the card that they have. Between each round, players are going to count the ankhs that they have, and whoever has the most is going to be the start player, the person to put out their bid first each time. If you run out of all your cards during the bidding process, then you have to use your 0 to keep bidding because you always have it. Now, once everyone has 3 cards in front of them, then everyone's going to make an offering to Amun Re. Each person's going to take 1 or more cards from the cards they have left over face up in front of them, and you can even use a 0 as a bluff and show how much you're given. That amount is totaled together and becomes the offering given to Amun Re. Now, the back of the box here has this chart on it here, and so this chart is going to be, we're going to move over based on how big the offering was. So let's say the offering was 12, then I would place this here between 11 and 15. First of all, the person who gave the most to Amun Re is going to get 3 pyramids. The next person is going to get 2 pyramids, and then everyone who gave at least 1 Amun Re gets 1 pyramid to place on their cards. Players are then going to get income. The number of farmers that you have on cards. So if we go back and we take a look here at these cards, let's say I have these 3 cards in front of me, I would have 7 farmers. 7 times 3 is 21 gold. If Amun Re, if the offerings are lean, between 0 and 10, then every camel that shows up on a card is worth 10 gold too. So camels are worth more only if the offering is sparse. Players are going to use their tokens just to show how much money that they have over the course of a round. If they have any leftover cards in front of them that they didn't use to bid or give to the offering, these are also added to your total that you get at the end of a round. All cards are then discarded. Each player can buy more pyramids using this card chart here. So if I want to buy 5 more pyramids, it would cost me 21 coins. Everyone pays for those pyramids, places those on their cards, and then with their leftover money, they choose cards from their pile because they've discarded all of them. And you know how you start with 14 at the beginning of the game, you'll start with a different number based on where you are here. These are all reset to 0, and you start round 2. Now, before you start round 2, though, you're going to be scoring. Now, placing pyramids on cards, like I said, is a good way to score. Each player is going to get 1 point for their card with the lowest number of pyramids on. Or essentially, for each set of 3, you get a point. So this player here would only get 1 point. This gives them 2. If it looked like this, it's still only 2 points that they're going to get from pyramids. If you have at least 9 farmers, you get a point. If you are the person who has the most ankhs, you'll get a point for having to start player. And then the person with the fewest points loses a point. Point tokens are collected and kept in front of somebody. Now in round 2, you're going to be doing the same thing, except when you win a card, you're going to take that card and place it on top of one of your other cards. You still see the pyramids from the previous cards. So now I have 5 pyramids. Maybe then when I win this next one, I go here. But that's going to change the number of farmers that you have and the number of ankhs that you have as you get these new cards. And then after this round, you score again, do everything the same. And then you have a third round, and you'll be doing the same thing. And you'll see that your number of pyramids is going to go up drastically and get you more points. After the third round, whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. So for components, this, using the box, that's okay. I'm not sure why they didn't just use a board. This feels like a gimmick. You could have put a board in the box, and having the box like this, which means you have to dump, turn it over, take the insert out and everything. I'm all for using a box for a game when it makes sense. In this case, I don't think it really does. But it's okay. I mean, it does work well, right? How much do you do the offering for? You move this piece along, and then these pieces on top here. But again, it's kind of like a one-term money thing, so you're instantly spending those. The card quality itself is fine. The cards are easy to tell. The only problem I would argue here is that the yellow and the green cards, I feel, are too similar, especially since they're yellow and green. I'm surprised this one isn't just green. The pieces, the point tokens are pretty small, but I guess that's fine. The pyramids are great, and I really like how the pyramids on the cards themselves fit there. The cards themselves are very easy to differentiate and tell. They have a good look to them. So overall, very happy with the components. Okay, so that's the card game version of Amun Re. So firstly, people who play the board game are going to say, how does this compare? I think they're similar in the sense that you can feel a lot of similarities between them, but they're really quite different games. And I'm not going to go into this in great detail, but simply the biggest difference is in Amun Re, you bid on different areas in the board, you're going to control them, and they're going to be worth points to you in various ways, and then halfway through the game, you wipe them off, and then you bid on these same areas that people have built up before. So I might have really built up something, and now you're going to build that up later on. That's not how this game works. The card game, you are simply building your own things. The auction is similar, the building the pyramids, but there's no action cards involved in the other one. The Amun Re offering is a very different thing. It's just manipulating a number, while in the original game it was manipulating a number and maybe sometimes getting some extra cash, stealing from Amun Re, which isn't here. So let's take a look at this game as a whole. So it's an auction game with these cards. And the card thing's a little fascinating. It's a little wonky at first to get your mind around. You're saying, okay, so I can take 14 at the beginning of the game. Should I take the 7-6-1 like I did? Or should I take the 7-5-2? Or maybe the 7-4-3? Or maybe the 7-3 and then the 2 and the 1. You got to figure out the best card to take. Taking the 8 is a useful card, right? Because when you win an auction with the 8, you won it. You put it out, no one can play a card higher than that. However, when you also play an 8, you're giving up a good chunk of money for a single area. Then what do you go for? Do you go for pyramids? Well, of course, that's how you win the game. Do you go for the ankhs? Going first is a big deal. And also they're also worth points as time goes by. And then the farmers themselves and or camels, which of those do you need those to get money? It's not a complex game. In fact, it's very simple. Once you know how to play, you're going to play through it very quickly. The game length on here says 45 minutes, but I'm telling you, once people know what they're doing, it's 30 minutes easy. I like it. I don't think there's anything new here. It's just collecting sets of cards. The biggest and coolest change is how the cards are going to build on top of each other. And then you're buying pyramids. And when it comes to buying pyramids, it's not like a tough game there. You are buying enough to make your cards as even as you possibly can, and to where you can afford and leave some money over for bidding next time. Leaving a ton of money over for bidding isn't probably going to change the game that much, and leaving no money left over for bidding, that's bad, but you'll still get at least some cards that you can do things with. The whole thing has a good, smooth dynamic though, and like I said, plays very easily. The theme is there, right? You're building pyramids, trying to build pyramids in different land areas, and the farmers and things like that. So while I wouldn't say that this is like, wow, this game, you don't need to play the board game anymore. No, the board game is superior. The board game is amazing. But this game is a good, solid card game, having that same theme, having a few of the same things behind it, and easy and fun to play. Dice Tower Judgment approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!
Yeah?